Hey everyone, it's Mr. Rias again. I hope we're having a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about caring for our horn, cleaning and maintenance. Cleaning your horn is a super important part of being a horn player. Brass instruments need to be regularly cleaned. Recommend at least once a month or once every 2 months. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that. But before we start cleaning it, we're going to talk about the supplies we need. So here we have all of our supplies. I have my rotor oil. Then I have my slide grease. This is the one I use, the Monster slide grease. I think that one's the best one. But there's different options. We have Hetman's and we have the LeBlanc cork / slide grease. Your cleaning snake, that should have come with your instrument care kit, and then dish soap. We're going to need some dish soap for this. So those are all the supplies we need, and of course you need your towel. So in this bathtub, I went ahead and filled it up about halfway. I put a little bit of dish soap in there and I mixed it around with my hand. Make sure not to put the dish soap while the water is filling the tub, because it'll get too bubbly and you're not going to be able to see your instrument. So fill up the tub first and go ahead and put a little bit of dish soap in that. You guys can use your bathtub if your parents allow you. If you have a utility sink, like those sinks that are in a garage, I would definitely do that. So as you see here, I'm taking out all of my slides and I'm placing them to the side so they can soak a little bit. Remember, when filling up the tub, we need to make sure that the water is a decent temperature. So if you're comfortable with it, then your horn is comfortable. So not too hot, not too cold. Remember, when you're pulling out the slides, you guys need to press down the corresponding valve combinations so that you don't get any pops of air. So, as you can see, if I'm pulling out the B-flat side slides, which are the ones on the bottom, I have to press my trigger and the valve that it's connected to. So you're going to have the water high enough so that most of the horn is immersed. It's okay if the bell's sticking out, as long as most of the tubing and everything is underwater. So you're going to let your horn soak for about 15 minutes. I recommend about 15 minutes. Because we need to be able to get whatever's in there loosened up with the soap and the water, and so that it'll be easier to clean. Remember guys, a lot of stuff, even if we do wash our mouths before playing, a lot of particles do get stuck in our horn. So that's why it's important to clean it every now and then. So what I start off by doing is getting a cleaning rag. So use an old cleaning rag or an old t-shirt. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the slides. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe off any excess oils or grease that's on there from before. So I'm cleaning every slide and just getting off all the oil that's still on there. It's definitely a process, but it is always good to take care of your horn. You need to treat it like your little baby. And if you need a parent's help, you can go ahead and ask them, because this might be a little complicated the first time. I know a lot of us have not even considered giving our horn a bath, but I recommend that we do it as soon as possible. Because once you clean it, it'll definitely play a lot better. So I'm just cleaning off each slide and then putting them off to the side to continue soaking. And make sure that you get the slide that is sticking out on your horn. There's a slide on most horns that you actually put grease on. You need to make sure to clean that. Clean all of your rotors. Clean all the little nooks and crannies of your horn, just to make sure there's no oils or residue left on there. I totally forgot to take these off before I put the horn in the tub, but you need to unscrew your valve caps. Okay, so those little things that go over your rotors, you need to unscrew those. I totally forgot. I always forget when I clean my instrument. So here I am. And be super careful. If you notice, guys, I always lay my horn down with the rotors facing down on the bottom, just so that we don't damage our lead pipe, the thing that our mouthpiece gets attached to, because if there's any damage done to that, then that's not very good. So I always put my horn laying down, face down. So I took off my valve caps. I do have to wipe off my valve caps. A lot of calcium or buildup will grow on your valve caps after a while, so it's important to clean those off. So now I believe we are ready to snake the horn. If I show up, there I am. So what I do first is I go through all of the slides and just put the snake up, kind of scrub the inside. I always start with the lead pipe. So I put that snake into there and I force it down. At a certain point it gets really tough, so we might need our parents' help for that. So you push, 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 and it should come out through where you attach your mouthpiece. If you don't eat before playing, then there should be minimal things coming out, but if, a lot of us like to eat and eat our snacks before we play, then some stuff is going to fly out of our horn, so don't get too grossed out by that. This is super important that we're doing this. So I force it out and I pull it out through the other end. Then I go into the other slides. There I am cleaning my F slides, just to get anything that's stuck in there. Yeah, just go through every single slide. You may not think it, but stuff does, accumulate in certain parts of our instrument, especially a horn. It's so much tubing, and it's pretty complicated. So it's important that we get every part of it. If you see there's water in the bell, so be careful. It might be a little heavy, so that's why I say we might need our parents' help for this. And don't get grossed out by whatever comes out of your horn, okay? That's your stuff. Now I'm moving on to my slides. So you need to snake through all of your slides as well. So not just the main horn, but also your slides, especially your lead pipe slide. Yeah, I remember the first time I cleaned my horn. I didn't even know it was a thing. The first time I ever saw my horn being cleaned, I went to a private lesson. This was my senior year of high school. And my private lesson teacher was like, when's the last time you cleaned your horn? I'm like, what? You're supposed to clean it? She's like, yeah, of course. And she's like, let's go do it. So we went to her kitchen sink. And we did this exact same process that we did. Maybe it's like a more condensed version. But we snaked my horn and it was so disgusting. This like glob of like something came out of my lead pipe and it was absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure the horn had not been cleaned before I used it. So it was like all the persons before me like stuff. Oh no, it was not cute. It was pretty gross. So I think that's why it's important to teach you guys now, early on in your horn playing career, on how to clean it, because I don't want you guys having those weird surprises on your horns. So whichever horn you get, most of you have a school instrument. So it may be a little sketch. So just, you know, take your time. Remember, it's the betterment of your playing and even your health, okay? So make sure that we're doing this very, very carefully and making sure we're not damaging the horn. So whichever horn you get, so like when you go on to high school, make sure you clean that horn, whatever they give you, because who knows if someone cleaned it. So now we're done cleaning the main part of the horn. We're going to go on to the rinsing part. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the bathtub. It'll magically disappear in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So all the water's gone. And so now this is how you're going to rinse out your horn. It's a little hard because the bell gets in the way a lot. My bell comes off, but for the purposes of teaching you guys, I decided to keep it on. So what I did is I got a McDonald's cup of water and then filled up the bell. And I'm going to do a little steering wheel motion. So I'm going to turn the car, get the water going through all the slides, and it should come out. Make sure you're holding the horn over the bathtub. Okay? You don't want to get water all over the place. It's the easier way to rinse it, because if you try to rinse all the slides and stuff underneath the bathtub faucet thing, it's really awkward and you might hit stuff. So try doing this with like a big old plastic cup, McDonald's cup, whatever, and you're just going to keep doing the same thing, filling up the bell, making those left turns. Pretend you're driving. I know you're not old enough to drive yet, but pretend you're doing that and just twisting it and making sure you're getting all the water out. I think I'm going to do it one more time, I think. Yeah, and then I'm getting all the slides on the side. I'm pouring all the water in there just to make sure that there's no soap. I don't want any soap residue staying in the horn from the dish soap. Alright, and be careful. Do not hit anything. Don't hit the wall. Okay, I know I was moving a little fast, but you know, I've done this many, many times. So when you guys are doing it, please be careful. So now we're going to go ahead and rinse out the slides. I decided to do them in the sink since they're smaller. And so just put on regular room temperature, cold water, or whatever. And then you're just going to rinse out the slides, make sure the water comes out the other end, and just get all the soap out of them. It's super simple. The hardest part's over. And like I said, I recommend doing this every month or every 2 months, depending on your guys' playing habits. So if you're like, you know, doing really good about not eating and washing out your mouth before playing, I think every 2 months would be okay. If you're someone who forgets to do that and eats and does whatever and then plays, then I recommend definitely doing this every month. At the end of the year, you should remind your band directors to try and get the horn chemical clean for the next year, because it'll need that. These home cleanings do so much, and they really do help with the maintenance of the horn, but every now and then, every brass instrument will need a professional cleaning. But this is what you can do at home to help preserve the life of your instrument and make it last longer, not just for you, but also for others in the future. Because a lot of the school horns have been around for a while. And if you guys take care of it, then that's super awesome and really nice. And we all like being nice, right? I hope. So I'm finishing cleaning out the slides, rinsing them out. And then here's a setup of how I usually dry my horn. I put them all kind of in the order that they're placed. Make sure not to get lost on what slides go where. Remember, the smaller slides go in the back, and then the bigger slides go in the front. The weird wiggly ones. So the F side is the big ones, the B flat side is the little small ones. So now we're going to go on to greasing the horn and oiling it. So before you put your valve caps back on, you're going to put valve oil on the little caps that move. If you press down your rotors, you'll see them move. You're going to oil those up, and then you're going to put your valve caps back on. Oh my god, I couldn't figure this one out. It's so embarrassing. Valve caps are tricky to put on. You kind of have to find that little groove. But I always mess mine up, and it's awful. And then you're gonna get your rotor oil, and you're gonna put a few drops into the slides where the rotors are. So if you see that I'm putting my horn straight up, and I'm putting about 3 drops down every slide. 2 to 3 drops. Not too much. Do not squeeze too hard because a bunch of oil is going to come out and that's not good. Just lightly press on your valve oil and it should just drop out. So about 2 to 3 drops in every slide to let it go down and soak in the rotor so that it's nice and lubricated. So after you oil up all of that, you are going to go ahead and move those slides, wiggle them, and then don't forget your trigger slide. Okay, don't forget that. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Then I'm going to put that to the side, and then now you're going to start to oil up the outside of your rotors. So where your strings are, where those are attached, you're going to oil those. Not too much, just kind of get a little bit of oil in there. Okay, again, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Let the oil really seep into those rotors. And then I'm going to lay my horn to the side and continue to let the oil soak in. So now it's time to grease up our slides. The way I grease up is I get a little bit on my fingers and then I rub the grease at the ends of the tube of the slide. So you don't have to do the whole thing, just the very ends. And I kind of do like a little twisty thing on each side to make sure that the inside of the horn gets some of the grease. So then I attach that F side one first. Then I go to the main tuning slide and make sure on like cons, those horns, they have that slide that you need to oil up as well or grease up. Make sure you are also putting your horn on a nice smooth surface that you're able to do this kind of work on. So maybe your kitchen table, or even if you do it on the floor, that's fine as long as you don't damage your instrument. So all I'm going to do is just grease up that slide, put it back in. Now remember, as we're putting in these slides, remember you have to press down the corresponding valve combination. So this one is the B flat first slide, so I have to press down my trigger and first finger. Okay, and then I'm going to go on to the B flat second slide. So remember, that's the itty bitty one that goes in the back. Press down trigger, then second valve, and then the third valve. Trigger, third valve. Make sure you press those down or else you're going to get air pockets and then it'll pop the valves and we don't want that. So again, this is the first side, so you're just going to press first valve for this because it's F side. Kind of move it, wiggle it so that it gets all the grease. Same thing with this one. This one's usually the toughest one on my horn. Each horn is different. Some of them won't even come out. So if your slides don't come out on your horn, don't try to force it. We don't want to break anything. Just take out the ones that you're able to take out. Hopefully it's all of them, but I know some of them have some weird problems. So there you are. You are done cleaning and greasing up your horn. So make sure we do this again every month or every 2 months. It's super important for your playing as well as the life of your horn. So remember, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will attach my email at the end of this video. If not, go ahead and reference this video again whenever you need to, whenever you're ready to clean your horn at home. So good luck on this. I trust that you guys will do a great job and keep playing and sounding great, guys. Thank you.